So we must do two things, two great things together, to encompass that enormous new view that lies before us, but to encompass it within the framework of science, to see it within the whole categorical framework of science, and to see that these two are not separate, but that they are wedded. The bigness of the idea, the newness of the idea, the greatness of it is one with the structure of science, the structure of being itself.
And in miscellaneous writings, self-ignorance, self-will, self-righteousness, lust, covetousness, envy, revenge are foes to grace. In the text we will find that she says that what we need is growth in grace. They're foes to grace, peace, and progress. They must be met manfully and overcome, or they will uproot all happiness. Be of good cheer. The warfare with one's self is grand. It gives one plenty of employment, she says. And the divine principle worketh with you. See? The divine cybernetic principle, the divine self-organizing principle worketh with you, and obedience crowns persistent effort with everlasting victory. She says, going back to the introductory paragraph, regardless of what another may say or think on this subject, I speak from experience. So this was her experience, her subjective experience. Prayer, watching and working, combined with self-immolation, are God's gracious means. Gracious means for what? For accomplishing whatever has been successfully done, for the Christianization and health of mankind. So, in a way, she is depicting the cyberneter within us now. If we go back to the beginning of that sentence, it's as though she says, prayer is what? Watching and working combined with self-immolation. So prayer is watching, and she gives a word sense. Because to watch is to observe attentively or carefully, to wait expectantly and in anticipation, to observe the course of something mentally, to keep informed about, to tend. It is keeping awake and mentally alert for the purpose of guarding. That's watching. And working. So we get a Christ sense. The calculus within us is working, because to work is to function, to operate, to exert oneself mentally in order to accomplish something. Combined with self-immolation. A touch of Christianity, the Christianity within us, that self-immolation being the deliberate sacrifice of oneself. That is an offering to God. To immolate oneself is to offer oneself to God. So the self-immolation is the forfeiting of one thing for another thing, because the other is considered to be of greater value. This is the meaning of self-immolation. So we see that these three, watching, working, and self-immolation, are prayer. And these are God's gracious means, the gracious means that are given to us from the divine principle, love, patterned, of course, just like as though love can't give you anything that isn't of the same pattern as itself, of its own calculus and nature. And so these are the gracious means, the means of grace that accomplish whatever can be successfully done to Christianize mankind, to Christianize us, and to heal us. And so the goal is indicated. At least there is a goal that is being indicated here, that when you have success, you have reached the goal. And what is it that has been successfully done? To Christianize and heal. That is the end product of the Reformation, reforming and healing process. And so these four, you see, are these four of prayer, which is watching and working and self-immolation, are not static, but they are dynamic. They have the ability within themselves, the Christ power within themselves, to overturn the whole nature of mankind. They are a catalyst. They are a catalyst in human consciousness, a leaven within human consciousness, an alchemic within human consciousness. And an alchemic has the power to bring about change. So whenever you have a Christianization, you have a process, don't you? You have the changing from one thing to another. It indicates the process of one thing changing to another. It's a spiritualization process. To Christianize means to convert to Christianity, to make Christian. It's the process that we are undergoing as we are being organized according to the pattern of the Christ. It is that which will render us a complete and perfect state of the Christ selfhood. It will render us as a divine cybernetic idea. This is the Christianization process. So the autocatalysis is that process. The spiritual autocatalysis is that process whereby we take part in our own catalysis. We take part in our own spiritualization, in our own spiritual growth and progress and evolution. And prayer shows us how to do that through the law of the Word as the Word. And when we come to the conclusion of prayer, we see that we have become a Christian. As Christians rejoice. in secret beauty and bounty. And then as we go further along that way of life, through the first 12 chapters, we are becoming the scientist. Becoming first what we see in the 13th chapter as the Christian scientist, then in the 14th chapter as the absolute Christian scientist, in the 15th chapter the divine scientist, and finally at the point of the 16th, the scientist per se, where we are absolutely one with our principle. The principle and its idea is one.